Everything changed the moment the CEO looked at the quiet single father standing in the lobby and laughed at the faded $20 suit he had carefully pressed before sunrise. Every employee nearby lowered their eyes in embarrassment as she dismissed him with a smile that carried more pride than kindness. She believed expensive clothing revealed a person's worth. She had no idea that before the afternoon was over, the chairman of the company would walk across the marble floor, stop in front of that same humble man, and greet him with 2 words that would leave the entire building frozen in disbelief. "Boss, you're here." If you believe kindness is stronger than pride, forgiveness is more powerful than revenge, and everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel so our community can continue sharing stories that inspire hope. Graham Mercer had learned years ago that life rarely judged people fairly. 5 years earlier he had owned a respected engineering company, but after the unexpected death of his wife, everything that mattered changed overnight. His greatest priority became raising his 8-year-old daughter, Nora, who struggled through months of grief after losing her mother. Graham sold most of his possessions, stepped away from public business life, and quietly disappeared from the corporate spotlight so his daughter could have a peaceful childhood instead of growing up surrounded by boardrooms and headlines. To everyone outside a very small circle, he was simply another hard-working single father trying to rebuild his life. His old tailored suits no longer fit after years of hard work and sacrifice. The expensive watches had been sold to pay hospital bills. The luxury car had been replaced by an old pickup that still managed to start every morning. Yet Graham never complained. Every dollar he saved meant piano lessons for Nora, school supplies, healthy meals, and a little money placed into a college fund that she knew nothing about. His own needs always came last. That bright Monday morning he entered the headquarters of Ashford Dynamics wearing the only formal suit he still owned. It had been purchased years earlier from a neighborhood thrift store for $20 after another suit had been ruined. The jacket was clean but worn at the sleeves. The shoes had been polished until they almost looked new. Graham stood confidently because he believed character mattered far more than appearance. At the same moment, the company's young CEO, Celeste Rowan, stepped into the lobby surrounded by executives. She had earned a reputation for intelligence, ambition, and relentless discipline. Investors admired her confidence, but many employees quietly feared her sharp judgments. She believed success should always look successful, and she often confused polished appearances with competence. As Graham waited patiently for a scheduled meeting, Celeste noticed him immediately. She assumed he was another applicant hoping to secure an entry-level position. Without asking a single question about his purpose, she looked at his inexpensive clothing with obvious disappointment. Her comments were calm enough to avoid shouting, yet loud enough for nearby employees to hear. She suggested that people representing themselves professionally should at least invest in a respectable suit before asking successful companies for opportunities. Several employees looked uncomfortable. A receptionist wanted to defend the visitor but remained silent, worried about losing her job. Graham simply smiled with quiet dignity. Years of hardship had taught him that wounded pride often revealed more about the speaker than the listener. Instead of arguing, he thanked the receptionist for her kindness and continued waiting. His calm reaction somehow made the moment even more uncomfortable for everyone watching. Unknown to nearly everyone in the building, Graham had not come seeking employment. Months earlier, the chairman of the board, Everett Sinclair, had privately invited him to evaluate the company's long-term strategy. Years before, Everett had been a struggling entrepreneur whose first opportunity came from an investment personally approved by Graham. Although Graham had stepped away from public leadership, he remained the largest silent shareholder through a family trust that very few executives knew existed. His name had intentionally remained hidden because he valued privacy above recognition. When Everett entered the lobby, his face immediately brightened. He walked directly past the executive team without hesitation and extended both hands toward the quietly waiting father. Every conversation inside the lobby stopped. Everett greeted Graham warmly, thanking him for agreeing to visit after so many years away. Then, in a voice that echoed through the enormous entrance hall, he respectfully addressed him as his boss. The silence that followed felt endless. Celeste's confident expression disappeared instantly. Her mind struggled to understand what she had just witnessed. Senior board members who had arrived moments earlier also greeted Graham with genuine respect. Several employees suddenly realized the humble visitor was not an applicant at all but someone whose influence stretched far beyond anything they had imagined. Everett gently explained that Graham had never cared about titles or attention. Years earlier he had built opportunities for thousands of families before quietly stepping away after personal tragedy changed his priorities. Even now, despite owning a controlling interest through the trust established for his daughter, Graham preferred living an ordinary life instead of enjoying public admiration. The realization spread through the building like a wave. People who had silently witnessed the earlier humiliation now understood how badly appearances had deceived them. Celeste felt something she had not experienced in many years. It was not fear of losing authority. It was genuine shame. Throughout the afternoon Graham participated in meetings with remarkable humility. Rather than criticizing executives or reminding anyone of his ownership, he listened carefully to managers, thanked junior employees for their ideas, and asked thoughtful questions about customer service, employee well-being, and long-term innovation. Whenever someone else contributed a useful suggestion, he gave them full credit. Employees noticed something unusual. The man wearing the cheapest suit in the building treated everyone with the greatest respect. During lunch Graham excused himself briefly to answer a video call from Nora. She excitedly showed him the drawing she had made at school, proudly explaining that she had won first place in an art competition. His face lit up with pure joy. Every executive who accidentally witnessed that conversation saw not a billionaire investor but a devoted father whose greatest achievement had nothing to do with money. That simple moment changed how many people viewed success. As the day continued, Everett privately shared Graham's story with the executive leadership. He explained how Graham had quietly funded scholarships, children's hospitals, and community food programs for years without placing his name on a single building. The $20 suit represented neither poverty nor carelessness. It represented priorities. Graham believed money should improve lives before improving wardrobes. Those words settled heavily on Celeste's heart. She began remembering every promotion she had based partly on appearance, every capable employee she had underestimated, and every talented applicant she had dismissed because they failed to fit the polished image she admired. Late that afternoon, she requested a private conversation with Graham. There was no anger in his eyes and no desire for revenge. Before she could fully express herself, Graham kindly assured her that everyone made mistakes. What mattered was whether they learned from them. Celeste admitted that she had judged him without knowing anything about his journey. She confessed that her ambition had slowly replaced her empathy and that success had become something she measured with expensive offices, luxury clothing, and impressive presentations instead of integrity. Graham shared a lesson his late wife had once repeated whenever life became difficult. She believed the most valuable people often carried the quietest stories because they spent their energy helping others instead of advertising themselves. Those words remained with Celeste long after the conversation ended. Within weeks meaningful changes began spreading throughout Ashford Dynamics. Hiring policies shifted to focus entirely on ability, character, and potential. Managers received leadership training centered on empathy and respect. An employee emergency assistance fund was created for families facing unexpected hardship. The company introduced scholarships for employees' children, inspired by Graham's lifelong commitment to investing in young lives. The atmosphere inside the company gradually transformed. Employees who had once felt invisible discovered their voices mattered. Innovation increased because people no longer feared being judged for superficial reasons. Even customers noticed a warmer culture. Graham never accepted an executive office. Whenever he visited, he preferred sitting beside ordinary employees in the cafeteria. He continued wearing simple clothes because they reminded him never to confuse wealth with worth. Nora grew older watching her father choose kindness over pride again and again. She understood that the strongest people rarely needed to prove their importance. Real influence appeared through compassion, patience, and quiet service. Celeste also changed. She remained an ambitious leader, but now she greeted receptionists by name, listened carefully before making decisions, and reminded every new manager that the company would never again measure human value by clothing, accents, backgrounds, or appearances. years later employees still spoke about the unforgettable afternoon when the chairman had crossed the lobby and called the man in the $20 suit boss. Yet the moment they remembered most was not the shocking revelation. It was the grace Graham showed afterward. He had every opportunity to embarrass the woman who humiliated him, but instead he offered understanding, proving that true greatness is revealed not by power but by mercy. Before this story ends, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a meaningful comment telling us whether you believe people deserve a second chance after admitting their mistakes, or share a moment when someone surprised you by showing unexpected kindness. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, a person's clothes can hide sacrifice, heartbreak, courage, and extraordinary love, but a kind heart always reveals true character. The richest people are not always those with the biggest fortunes. They are often the ones who quietly lift others without asking for recognition, reminding us that dignity cannot be bought, respect cannot be worn, and kindness will always be the finest thing anyone can ever put on. If you'd like, I can also write a full 2,000,2 500-word cinematic version with even deeper emotional twists, richer character development, and stronger YouTube audience retention.